The other midfielder that's been mentioned and linked to the club primarily via yourself in recent days has been Ruben Neves. There's talks of an official bid for him. Would this be as well as Frankie de Jong or instead of Frankie de Jong, as far as you're aware?
Well, we understand that it's including Frankie de Jong. So, two separate deals at the end of the day for two midfielders. However, Man United have let three midfielders go in the last 24 hours. So there is this kind of pull towards strengthening the squad. When we look at Ruben Neves, he's a player that's been on United scouting reports now for well over 2 years. A player they've always liked at the football club from the actual core. Now, we know the scouting department's changed a lot at Manchester United. What we do know is that Wolves are preparing to sell. So this is kind of where we stand with that deal, is the sense that Neves does want to leave the club and is inviting himself offers from big clubs. He talked about Barcelona in recent days, and he has talked about Man United in the past. But if you're looking for a player who is Premier League ready at a price range that you can afford without worrying too much, Ruben Neves is absolutely perfect for Manchester United. So we do understand that United will make an offer for him now in the next few days. We'll see how that goes. Whether Wolves will play ball initially and say, yes, we want to sell quickly, we don't really know. That's something that I can't really comment on. But Wolves themselves are in the process of signing one or two midfielders, which would open the door for Neves to leave.
I think that's really encouraging for me because, again, everyone keeps throwing the word DM out. I don't know if that's the right. I look at Ruben Neves like a Michael Carrick style player. He plays in that holding role. He isn't a sort of a blood, sweat, and tears type player. He isn't going to be crunching into tackles and breaking up play. He'll be reading the game. He'll be anticipating where the ball's going to be. Now, he's not shy of a tackle. He'll get stuck in. He'll get involved. He's got good physicality, but his ability to control the tempo to pass the ball is great. And if Man United could pull off Frankie de Jong and Ruben Neves, suddenly the upgrade from, and I'm going to exclude Pogba because he used to miss 2 to 3 months of every season anyway. To have that as the upgrade from McFred would be sensational. And I think one of the fears for Man United fans is very much, well, we get Frankie de Jong in or we sign Ruben Neves and that's it. And one of them is partnered with McTominay for the entire season. So it looks as though that midfield overhaul is really being focused on by Ten Hag and John Myrtle.
Of course, and I think the big issues for Man United over the last year or two, and even go back well into the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, was that you had a lot of players in the squad on huge inflated wages. So that really kind of paralysed what you could do in the transfer market, even for a club the size of Man United. So I think when you look at Ruben Neves, what he brings to you is just all of that intelligence. Now, you just said there about a defensive midfield role. I get a lot of stick all the time when I always say that Man United don't need a defensive midfielder. But what do I mean by that? I mean that Man United need a modern number 6. That's what you need in the game. You need someone who can get the ball, intercept the ball, has good defensive numbers, but at the same time can pass it that way. And Man United haven't had that for so long. They just haven't. They bought Nemanja Matic to kind of do it at the back end of his career, but it wasn't the right fit, and it never has been. Now we ask Scott McTominay to be a ball player from number 6. What do you think is going to happen there, Terry? So I think with Neves, Neves is a massive upgrade for you just in the centre of the park and just a Premier League player that is ready to go. And looking at around the £50 million mark, I said this is the starting valuation now for players. You're not going to get talent at 10, 15, 20 million and think they're automatic starters. Whereas I think someone like Neves, he's ready to take that next step. And if he doesn't go to Man United, he will absolutely go to one of the big clubs.
Listen, I want him at Manchester. Ruben Neves, I've got a bias. When I was working in my previous life in the banking industry, he was one of the first clients. Him, Jota, and Willy Bolly were the first 3 people I signed up. I got this new promotion. I got sent to my first lot of clients. It was those 3. So they'll always one. It was the first group of footballers I dealt with. Secondly, they were my first official onboarded clients. So I've got a soft spot for them. I want him to do well, and I've wanted Neves at Manchester United for a long time. I think another area that free kicks, long shots. Bruno's not bad, but I wouldn't say a specialist. Ruben Neves, for me, is. I actually think in a team that will be more offensive, more forward-thinking, he's a player that... It's funny is really when you look at free kicks, when you actually break down the stats. If you score 3 or 4 free kicks a season, that is like colossally good. People forget that like the best free kick takers in the world average 3 or 4 a year. Neves has that ability in him as well. It gives us something extra that we haven't had for a while. Deliveries from wide positions as well, which means, as and when he drifts, you've got that. There's so many elements to him that I really like. Now, he doesn't maybe have the speed of other players like him. So he hasn't got the speed, for instance, and the athleticism of a Basuma, but he's equally as gifted technically. And I think that, I just think he'd be a colossal signing. And if we could bring both in, that would be very, very good for us as well.